So Nintendo's dropping info of their online service that it'll be paid for a month from now in the second half of September. You'll be able to play online Switch games through payment, you'll be able to cloud save, you get free NES games as well, and you'll need the Switch Online app for communication services. If you're not buying the service, you can still access the eShop, update your Switch and games, manage your friends list, share screenshots on social media, have access to parental controls, and not every Switch release will need the paid online service to play and connect online. We've known about this for a while now. We have a month of free online left. And I want to talk about this because this is a hot debate among Nintendo fans, Nintendo's competitors fans, and people questioning the worth behind the service. Right now I'm speaking from my own perspective, but I decided to buy this thing the minute I saw the price. It's only a couple dollars per month and per 3 months, and it costs $20 per year for it. Generally, that's the only good thing about this service outside of my own opinion. It's super cheap. Only a third of what you have to pay for PlayStation Online and Xbox Online. $20 per year realistically is chump change. Same for cloud saving. I'm glad it's there, and it needed to be there since the Wii U, but you can only save data through cloud storage by buying this service. If you're afraid or know your Switch will break, die, or you'll transfer systems sooner or later, the only way to get cloud saving is behind a paywall. It being behind a relatively cheap paywall makes it feel like whatever to me, and it's not a huge deal. It's there, I gotta pay 20 bucks, but it's whatever. PlayStation Plus does the same thing. Between cloud saves and the price is why I'm buying this. And if you're into online/multiplayer games, you'll likely want to pick this up. I play Smash Bros, I still play Smash 4 online, so even just for that alone I'm getting the service. But I'm one dude. Smash is insanely popular, but it's not the only reason to get online or not. And when you boil down to it, what you're getting is not really impressive, and I see why people are in an uproar about this. The thing naysayers or blind defenders of Nintendo's online service is that it's cheap, so why complain? The price is good, but not all of what they're offering is necessarily great. Nintendo doesn't view their competition as competition, and they view themselves as more of their own thing, or so they say, but not only is it not true in several ways, Xbox has cloud saving for free from what I hear. To some length, asking why cloud saves cost money now makes some sense, outside of the fact Nintendo and Sony are businesses and businesses make money. The NES support isn't that much of a pull either. They're offering us to play Super Mario Bros., Ice Climber, The Legend of Zelda, etc. for free with the service and added online functionality, but it's almost like Nintendo forgot there's over 10 different ways for people to play NES games without their online service. Some people argue this is the biggest attraction, but there's no reason for people to buy the service for NES games when you already have your bought old Wii Virtual Console games, the NES and SNES classics, the 3DS and Wii U eShops, ROMs and emulators online, hacking your phone, Wii, Wii U, 3DS, or even your Switch, etc. People don't care that much, if at all, about NES games, and the same could almost be said for SNES games. Nintendo's been getting flamed for shutting down a bunch of ROM and emulator sites recently, to which I think is wrong as well due to the history of those games and extreme lack of accessibility to these games, but they'd have to make up for that by making a bunch of those games accessible to their service in the eShop. It's likely not going to happen though. And that app, oh my god, that terrible app. I'll get to that in a second, but it seems like there isn't a whole lot when you buy the service compared to when it's free, and people are valid in finding concerns or disapproval over the service, not just because it's their opinion, but there is logic behind why this online service is kinda mediocre, let alone Nintendo's had free online longer than anyone except for PC and Steam. People didn't buy Xbox Online or PlayStation Plus just to play online. They bought it because you could also talk and message people and friends. They got free games, huge discounts, etc. Nintendo has the push for their online service, but they're lacking in pulling consumers. They're gonna need more features and services if they want this thing to be a success. And I may be one fan among the millions, and it's just my silly little input, but I'd like to provide some pointers as to what should be done for people to want to buy Nintendo Switch Online, and there are 3 main points to consider. Let me describe the app first. The Nintendo Switch app basically allows you to message people, invite friends to join lobbies and game sessions, and through an extra headset you have to buy, you can voice chat with people who also have the app, which has to be on and open the entire time. The first point to consider, get rid of this app and just move all these communication features to the system itself. People do not, I repeat, people do not like the Switch app, and they know it's ridiculous. you need 3 more wires to set up voice chat. If I wanted that or messaging, Discord and Skype can cover that for free with less work and no wires. It just looks and feels super unnecessary. Sending messages, invites, voice chat, all these communication features seem like things the Switch is capable of doing on its own. Fortnite has native voice chat on the Switch. Smash Ultimate seems to have messages looking at the black tab on the menu screen, unless it's notifications or something misleading, and it's confirmed you can hook up wireless headphones and headsets to the Switch, docked and undocked. I don't see how the Switch would need a phone app and extra wires for voice chat and messaging when it seems more than capable of having a message/invite tab and voice chat options on the system itself. Not to mention there are other better alternatives to voice apps, and their competition has all that in the systems themselves. The second point is primarily developing better netcodes. There's a popular misconception thousands of Nintendo fans are spreading that dedicated servers are what Nintendo needs, and I was one of those people who thought the same, but that's not actually true given research. Lots of Nintendo games, Wii U and Switch, use peer-to-peer connections. Smash, Splatoon, ARMS, Mario Tennis, etc. And though their online connections are based on the players, that doesn't inherently mean laggy online central. You could get a LAN adapter and you'd have a better chance, but if your opponent's connection sucks, it would still lag and or disconnect because of the other player. Dedicated servers wouldn't ultimately fix that. It would definitely offer improvements to certain games, and it can be an investment worth doing to a degree. It all depends on the game you're using it on, but investing to dedicated servers isn't an immediate fix, nor recommended in Nintendo's case given how many popular games rely on peer-to-peer connection. Look at other games like Skullgirls, Dragon Ball FighterZ, etc. Shooters and fighters generally use peer-to-peer connections, and those games not only manage to run better on other platforms, but show how well the game is running. It's because they've developed proper netcode. What is netcode is basically the portion of the game's code that's directly responsible for multiplayer and networking. Nintendo games or games on Nintendo platforms have had worse luck because improper netcode is the real culprit, not peer-to-peer connections and not the lack of dedicated servers. In Smash Bros. Case, or most fighting games / 1v1 games, they use peer-to-peer connections because it involves a small number of players, they value low latency over the game state being consistent, and there's not a lot of game data across the two clients being distributed. Dedicated servers wouldn't improve and make Smash, ARMS, or Mario Tennis better. It'd actually be worse as it would add an extra layer of delay and lag between the client and the server. It benefits those who are closest to the server itself, and less as you're further away, and peer-to-peer connections can still work and function years and years later on their own. Dedicated servers mean the game's online capabilities last as long as the servers themselves, which is finite by comparison. Destiny 2 uses peer-to-peer connections, Halo 5 used dedicated servers, and it didn't bode that well. Various companies and developers outside Nintendo have used peer-to-peer connections, boasting great results, along with some using dedicated servers and boasting bad results too. The developers would have to understand the Switch's processor and hardware, understand the type of gaming code it uses, and develop, adjust, and or update the game's netcode to be better suited for the Switch and its network functionality. They could use dedicated servers or add checks for statistics on weapons or characters depending on the game to hinder major hacking and cheating, but dedicated servers won't solve anything major. That's false information people are spreading like wildfire. Like I say, ignorance and unknowingness can only go so far. Maybe the money will go to adding extra content and putting more resources in future content or future games. They're really going all in with Smash Ultimate casually and competitively, and Smash is one of Nintendo's biggest online games, so maybe they're more prepared than we thought. I'm not sure. But proper netcode has to be one of their top priorities. If consumers are paying for what was essentially free for over a decade now, it's not unreasonable or daft to at least expect some kind of improvement over the online functionality and network quality. The third and last point has to go for enticing offers. We know NES games are purchasable, but that's the 20th time or so we could play Super Mario Bros. Or The Legend of Zelda again. We're sick of NES games. At least expand the library of NES games by a wider margin, considering the shutdown of ROM and emulator sites. If you're going to discard any access to said ROMs, at least make them easily accessible through the legacy games thing you're selling, since they're extremely hard and extremely expensive to come by. Not to mention buying some copy off eBay or Amazon of a super rare NES game isn't going straight to Nintendo, and it's not just NES games under that category of rare, ridiculously expensive and scarce to purchase, play, or even know about. SNES games, Game Boy games, N64 games, the damn GameCube games. Where the heck are the GameCube games? That's literally one of the biggest things people are begging to be on the Switch. If you want to convince people to buy your online service with classic games having online functionality, adding GameCube games to the library would be a super viable option. Playing Mario Party, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Kirby Air Ride, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, Pikmin, F-Zero GX, Metroid Prime, etc. on the go would make your classic library expand, become known to newer generations, and you'd be sitting on thousands of dollars right from the get-go. You should expand your library of classic games no matter what system it supports, but considering the Switch's popularity, diversity, and already present support of GameCube controllers, GameCube games should be a no-brainer. Otherwise, expanding your library of games beyond NES and SNES and adding even just N64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and if by some stroke of luck, Wii games and maybe even DS games to an extent if we're luckier than that, it'll go a long way in supporting your online service, especially if plenty of games from said systems hold discounts and special deals if you're subscribed, similar to owning a PlayStation Plus account. You did convince us that the Switch in a couple ways is basically an amalgamation of practically all your previous consoles and systems, so why not market off that more with a bigger library of classic games? Nintendo's still got some catching up to do with the online era of gaming, but they're closer to beating that sweet spot than people think. To summarize, what Nintendo should do from my point of view is getting rid of the app and moving the communication functionalities from that to the system itself, spending more time in development on proper netcoding and networking, and adding a variety of good quality offers among a variety of games between the NES and GameCube era of systems and even handhelds. Even the smaller stuff like normal messaging and native voice chat or better netcode would go a long way to helping Nintendo Switch Online thrive. What about you? Do you have any ideas or hints that Nintendo could use in order to make the most of their online service? Do you agree with my thoughts or not? Anything you think I missed? I'm open to discussion and criticism if you're willing. Otherwise, I gotta go prepare for my third year in college and analyze more Smash Brothers. Stay super!